Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 289 of Screw the Commute podcast. Today I'm going to talk to you about website mistakes. I see these mistakes pretty much every day of my life, and if you download the full show notes of this episode, you'll have a great checklist to use anytime you make or fix up your website. Now, I hope you didn't miss episode 288. Alicia Abady, she told us what it was like what it is like to spend 25 years freelancing in Hollywood and how there's plenty of work there if you're the right kind of person. She was a production manager, and there's loads of work in that field. Now, how would you like to hear your own voice here on Screw the Commute? Well, if the show has helped you out, and this episode, I gotta tell you, it's gonna help you out. If you just pay attention and do even a couple of the things that I tell you in this episode, your website will be way better. And your web designer should have told you this already, or should have known this, and they probably don't. In fact, I'm sure they don't. All right, most of them don't. But anyway, if the show's helped you out in any way, this episode or any of the others, go to screwthecommute.com and look for a little blue sidebar that says send a voicemail. Click on it, talk into your phone or computer, tell me how the show helped you, and put your website on there, and then you'll get a big shout out on a future episode of Screw the Commute in your own voice. Now, make sure you pick up a copy of our automation ebook at screwthecommute.com/automate free. And of course, all the stuff we talk about will be in the show notes for episode 289. So you go to screwthecommute.com/289 and you'll get all the stuff we're talking about. But this automation ebook we sell for $27. I mean, it's one of the backbones of my entire business to handle things with speed and save me tons and tons of time. So check it out, screwthecommute.com/automate free. And as while you're over there, might as well grab a copy of our podcast app. It's screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP. And it has all the kinds of tricks and bells and whistles so you can take us with you on the road. Now, we're still sitting here in the middle of this pandemic, and I've been preaching since 1996 to learn how to sell from home, even if you keep a job. The dreaded job. I got to tell you, though, my goal in life when people come to me like that is to make it too expensive for you to go to work anymore. Okay, because the time spent in your own internet business is exceeding or equaling your job salary, plus you get tax deductions for it. You don't get tax deductions for your job. See, so I've got a complete school on this. It's the only one of its kind in the country. Not Screw the Commute. That's the only podcast of its kind. It's imtcva.org, and it would be a great gift, better than going to a four-year college. And guess what? You know, I've been harping against college. I don't really care if you go to college if you want to blow your money and learn how to protest. Good for you. But if you did this, you'd be earning money and paying your way and not be saddled with enormous amount of debt when you get out of this stupid college where they're teaching you how to protest. Okay, so, and if you don't believe me the way they're ripping you off at college, just go to imtcva.org/quiz, and it takes 2 minutes to take a quiz, and be prepared to be mad because you're going to see 7 major ways colleges are fraudulently ripping you off. And if they weren't colleges, you know, I've got a TV show in development in Hollywood called Scam Brigade, and I know what fraud is. These people would be in jail if they weren't colleges and hadn't brainwashed you for 100 years of how valuable they are. Yeah, take the quiz and then tell me how valuable they are. All right, let's get to the main event, website mistakes. I can't tell you how many websites I've critiqued over the last 24 years, probably at least 10,000 or so. And what's coming up is a list of things that I've noticed that website owners and web designers are doing wrong. And when I say wrong, I'm talking from the perspective of the site helping the owner to make money. Maybe the owner likes a certain element on their website because they think it looks nice. And And maybe it does, but I've heard that 100 times, hundreds of times, not 100 times. Oh, Tom, I really like it. It's so pretty. and they're referring to some ridiculous graphic or layout that admittedly looks nice, but it hurts their chances of selling their stuff. All right, if you're just doing this for ego or for fun, good. Do whatever you want. You can do all kinds of cool stuff with a website. But if you want to make money, you got to scrap a lot of that stuff. And most web designers don't know any better. They were out-of-work graphic artists yesterday, and now they're a web expert. That's so much BS. I can pick almost any website apart that some web designer made because all they want is the money for making the website. They don't care if it makes money for you. They don't even know the elements that are needed to make money for you. And they don't even know a lot of the graphic things that work in print but don't work on the web. They slap in the same crap that they would put in a flyer on a web page. That's just stupid with a capital T, all right? They just don't know. And if you like them and they're nice to you and all this, it's your fault because you didn't learn what it takes. And when you go broke later, you wonder why your website's not making any money. Well, come back and read these show notes and let's fix it up for you. Okay. All right. And back on web designers, I actually have a sign hanging at my school that says, if your web designer was so good at making websites that sell stuff, would they be working for you? Heck no, they'd be making websites that bring money directly to them and on a continual basis. They wouldn't be working one at a time to get paid to make your website. No. So they just don't know. And some of them, and they get defensive when I'm brought in and they work against me instead of trying to learn something. I mean, the smart web people listen to me because I make them more valuable. The dumbest ones are ironically the ones that think they know it all. Okay. I guess my 26 years experience and hundreds of millions of dollars for me and my students don't count for much to them. Maybe not. They know it all. Well, guess what? Even with what I just said, I don't know it all. Nobody knows it all. This is a vast field. But another sign I have at the school says, I don't know everything about internet marketing, just enough to make a fortune. Okay, so that's what I want for you. All right, let's get into it. Now, I don't know exactly how many tips I have here. I never really counted them up. I think there's about 17, but any one of them can make your site better. So here we go. You count if you feel like it. A lot of them aren't in any particular order. All right, no plan or purpose for the website. People get what I call CSI. That's not the TV show. That's crappy, stupid idea. And they throw up a website without thinking through what exactly they want to accomplish with the site. And this allows the site to go off on all kinds of directions with no cohesive content that visitors can depend on. So they don't know what you're made of, and then they leave. People want to deal with exactly what they know they're going to get, the benefit to them, say. All right. And that spins off into too many topics. That's the next tip. For the best chance of success, the fastest, sites should be about one topic. See, Google wants to please the searcher by giving the searcher the best possible sites based on what the person was searching for. If you lump multiple topics on one site, you're hurting your chances of being found in the search engines because you look like a jack of all trades. All right, so make another website. If you took the time to learn, you can make world-class websites, and my students do, for $150. So it's not $4,000 or $5,000 and a big risk to put your other topic on another website. It's you getting the knowledge to do it on the cheap, see, and do it world-class on the cheap. That's what your knowledge will get you. All right, next thing is no instant recognition. Now, when someone lands on your site, they should instantly know they're in the right place. So you put a tagline near the top of the site so they know For instance, my Fatso Tennis, my funny site that makes my hobbies tax deductible. But when somebody hits there, not only does the domain name tell them what it's about, but the tagline says the blog for out-of-shape people who love tennis. You know immediately if the site is for you or not. If you aren't out of shape, then the site isn't for you. If you are out of shape, then it is. All right? See, poor recognition is part of the cause of high bounce rates, which means people find your site, but they leave immediately. Well, yeah, we don't really care about the people that leave immediately. We want to grab the people that are interested in your topic, but if you don't tell them right off the bat, they don't know, and so they bounce. See? So yeah, you're always going to get bounces, and that's fine if people come and they find out it isn't for them. But if it is for them and they don't know it, that's really sad because they're going to bounce anyway. All right, now the next really big one is I still see sites out there that aren't responsive. And that doesn't mean you can't click on something and it works and responds to you. That's a different thing. Responsive means it looks good on a cell phone or tablet. Google came out years ago and said, if your site doesn't look good on a cell phone or tablet, you're never going to see the light of day in the search results. You're behind the times. And people won't stay anyway. Now, if you want to check real quick to see if your site's responsive, pull it up on your cell phone. If you have to squinch your fingers, and make it bigger to read a little section of it, it ain't responsive. You don't have to do that when it's properly prepared. So you got to get your site responsive. All right, next thing is form over function. See, many people let the creative web designers, like I said, that were out of work graphic artists yesterday, run away with design elements for coolness' sake. See, websites should look just good enough to represent you well professionally and concentrate on the marketing elements rather than fancy design. Now, if you're in the fashion field, okay. If you're in art, okay. But most of us aren't in those fields, and you got all this crazy stuff on there because you think it looks pretty, but it's hurting your marketing, okay? I actually won Best of the Web in Inc. magazine with a $600 site, and today's it would cost me $150 for the site. At the time, it was $650, and it beat out 3 other $1 million websites. And got Best of the Web in Inc. magazine, and the blind panel, that doesn't mean they were blind and couldn't see my site, all right, but they didn't know who owned what, chose me the winner, and their comments were, we could find what we wanted fast and get around the site easily. That was all they cared about, okay? Not all this fancy stuff. So don't do form over function. All right, here's a couple things. No underlining, and really, really avoid italics on a website. So first of all, if you underline something on a website, underlining means to people you can click on it. And so when they click on it and it's not clickable, it's just underlined for some kind of emphasis, then they think something's wrong with your site. Now, again, you do not want people thinking that, they make a decision almost instantly. One study said 1/20th of a second, all right, if they're going to stay at your site. You don't want to give them excuses to think this site is not up to snuff, it's not modern enough, it doesn't work. So underlining is an absolute no-no. The underlines will appear if you have a regular looking link, and they'll be clickable, and that's cool. That's fine. Now, here's the thing about italics. See, the smaller a font, let me talk about the actual screen that people watch stuff on. It's composed of vertical and horizontal dots called pixels. And when you put regular text on, it looks fine. But when you put italics on, it starts cutting at an angle across these pixels and starts to get fuzzy on the edges. The smaller the font, the worse it is. Now, you can put a graphic or an italics in a big graphic, and that's a different story. See, it's like a picture there. But avoid italics as part of your regular text. If you have to name the Washington Times or something, put quotation marks around it, maybe bold it if you want, but no italics and absolutely no underlining. All right, along with that is too much centering. Too much centering is considered amateurish. And certainly you can center titles, you can center subheadings, you can center, that's about it, okay? But I see these or testimonials in these boxes, and they're all, each one is, the whole paragraph is centered. That looks stupid. It's hard to read. It's just considered in the good design of website world amateurish. So you're making people think, oh, this person's a goober. They just threw up this website, okay? And you don't also want full justification. Now, full justification means that the text lines up perfectly on the left and perfectly on the right, like a book. And a book was a typesetting machine made this book so that it didn't look, that all the spacing between the words and letters didn't look weird. But it's going to look weird on a web page because you're not using a typesetting machine. So you use justified left on your text and ragged right. And that cuts out all the weird word spacing and everything, and it opens up some white space, which is important because people get eye strain and headaches, and you don't want them to feel like, oh, it's too hard to read this site. Make it easy on them as best you can. So no centering or very little centering, and justified left, ragged right on the text. All right, next thing, too much navigation. Back in the year 2000, a book came out called Don't Make Me Think. I think it's been revised a couple times since then. And it was all about making it easy to move around your site without getting lost or confused. Now, here's something you can do. If on the first screen of your website, you have more than, I don't know, let's say 8 places to click. When I say screen, I'm talking about the top screen. Now, if you scroll down, you could have more than 8, but right in the first screen that somebody sees, if you have more than 8 places to click, you probably need another website, or you need to rethink and simplify your navigation. Here's one thing I force my students to do on every website. I give you 5, and this is, it doesn't always end up this way, but this is the way we start to force them into thinking easy navigation. I give them 5 navigation buttons, and I say, okay, home is one of them, okay, about is another, and contact is the other. You got 2 left. What are you going to do with them? Wow, it really makes them think, how can I really, get the essence of this, what people are here for, in only 2 navigation buttons? See, and so yeah, like I said, we might end up with more or maybe a drop down under some of them. But the thing is if you don't think in those terms, I've counted as much as 120 places in the first screen that somebody could click on, all right? No, you get more than 10 people get confused, and this site had 120. I all the time find ones that have 30, 40, 50 places to click in the opening screen. That's just crazy. You're just confusing the heck out of people. All right. Next is no obvious opt-in form. Now, everybody at my level makes virtually all their money from email. And when you hear the money is in the list, believe it, all right? You got to get serious about getting people to opt in with their email address. And yeah, I know we got text. I know we have messenger marketing. I know we have all kinds of social media stuff. Guess what? Again, people at my level, all making their biggest money off of email. Ignore that and God help you, okay? So you got to get serious about it. And that means every significant page has an opt-in form. You'll use a pop-up box when appropriate. And don't give me this crying thing, oh, I don't like pop-up box. Doesn't matter what you like. They work, okay? So pop-up boxes, used judiciously. Put it in your signature file of your email and always tell people about it. Get the darn email address. That's where the money is. All right, next thing is not including social media. Now, I critique so many websites. The theme that they used has these social media buttons on it. And you click on them and they don't go anywhere, or they go the wrong place. Nobody checks them. So it's up to you to check everything on your site, and even get your friends to say, look, I want you to get a tablet out. I don't even want to be near you when you do it. I want you to go to my site, click on everything, make sure it goes where you thought it was going to go, jot down any mistakes you see, and do that, because a lot of times you're too close to it and you say, okay, I fixed that last week, or did I? I can't remember. I'm busy. I forget it. So get your friends to help you with that. But you got to include social media. I mean, social media can be a big waste of time if you get sucked into playing stupid games and yapping about your bunion operation. All right? But it is a necessary evil for business. Google and the other search engines demand that you have a social media indicators on your site to prove that you are worthy of high rankings. See, a lot of people try to get people to link to them, and a lot of times they cheat and they buy off of 5 or 1,000 links or something. Well, Google figured that out a long time ago, and they say, guess what? If so many people are linking to you, somebody's talking about you, and you better be able to prove it with your social media indicators. So make sure it's on there. All right, next is broken links. I mean, nothing screams non-professional like links that don't go anywhere, okay? You got to review your site regularly or have someone else do it for you. But there's tools that'll do this. Like there's one thing called brokenlinkcheck.com. I haven't checked it lately to make sure it's still working, but there's broken link checkers out there that you can put on your site that report to you when there's a link that's not working. Very simple. All right, next problem is disappointment. I lied about broken links being screaming non-professional. Well, this screams non-professional louder than broken links. See, when you make people feel, when they click on a link, that they're going to see a certain thing that they want to see, and then you show them something else or make them search all over the place to find what you promised, you have just committed a massive website sin. The visitor will immediately think this site is too hard to figure out, or worse yet, I can't trust this website and the owner of it. So make sure that when somebody clicks on something, they see immediately that they're the place that they thought that they were going to be. If you don't do that, like I said, they're going to leave and they're going to think you're not trustworthy. All right, poor sales copy is the next one. I had a lady just recently, her stupid kid, I don't know the kid. I don't even know how old he is, who he is, what he is. But he talked her out of buying my copywriting course because he says, I know how to do that. I could do that. I'm going to do this for you. And I asked her, I said, has your kid made many, many millions of dollars doing this? No. Okay. Well, there you go. All right. So I don't know much about this situation. This has happened to me in the past where some kid that was Microsoft certified, which has nothing absolutely on earth to do with making money, talked her out of joining my program. No, I know all that stuff. I'm Microsoft certified. Oh, you idiot. You're a freaking idiot. That doesn't mean crap to anybody on earth unless there's some network problem. All right. It has nothing to do with shopping carts and email and advertising copy and text marketing and blogging and as your shopping cart system and email autoresponders. It had nothing to do. I could have made this kid look like he was not even in preschool. He was so stupid. All right. But he's their kid. Oh, I love my kid. He can't. That's the dumbest thing. One of the reasons people go out of business because they want to keep the family happy and they think their kids can do no wrong. And then they go back to a job because they screwed up their whole internet thing listening to this dumb kid. So poor sales copy. See, on a business site, almost everything should be leading people in some way to buy something. Writing words that sell is one of the most important things you can ever learn to do. I tell people it's the most important skill I ever developed in my 43 years of formal business, and even since I was 10 years old making flyers and selling stuff around town. And the words don't have to, people hear copywriting, oh, that's going to be cheesy, and no, the techniques are the same. The words you use for different audiences are different. Cheesy sells to some audiences. To some audiences, it would turn it off, but you're still using the same techniques. So I created the site copywriting901.com to teach you how to write these words for written, audio, video sales messages, Google ads, YouTube ads, Facebook ads. All of this stuff needs sales copy, and you couldn't possibly afford to pay for all the times you need. Even a letter you write, you want to move people to action with very subtle techniques. So it just irks the heck out of me when some little wet behind the ears nobody, hurts their parents who loves them and nurtured them, and now they're hurting their parents because they're little idiots, entitled idiots. Okay, that's my mini rant there for that. See how passionate I am about this stuff, folks? Okay. Now, next thing is slow loading. See, Google, again, came right out and said, if your site doesn't load fast, you will never get a high ranking. And we don't totally depend on Google anymore for high rankings. We use paid traffic, which is, you can control it better. But the thing is I don't want you to shoot yourself in the foot with Google, but even worse than that, the people that visit your site aren't going to wait around forever to load. So however you get them there, the site needs to load really, really fast. If it doesn't, then they're going to leave. They're just going to bounce out of there because they're used to fast loading sites. See? So it contributes to a great user experience for them, and they'll stick around longer. Now there's tools online. We'll have a link in the show notes to a site that Google has that you can check the speed of your site. The nice thing about Google is, if there is something nice, is that they'll tell you right away what's wrong with your site. They'll evaluate it for you. They'll say, hey, you should fix this, you should fix that. Guess what? Do it. All right, this is where geeks come in. I don't even know how to fix some of the things that Google tells me to fix, but I got people that do. See, that's what they're good for. That's what the technical people are good for. You, as the business owner, need to know what needs to be done, but you don't always need to know how to do it. A lot of the stuff you do because it's so easy. If somebody just tutored you for 15 minutes, you'd be able to do stuff on your own. This isn't really one of them, but there's Google will evaluate it, tell you where the bad places of your site are, and then you turn that over to a geek and make them fix it. Then you go back to Google. Once it's to check on the person to see if they did a good job, you go back to Google, have the site evaluated again. If the problem is fixed, the web person did a good job. If it's not fixed, fire them. They don't know what they're doing. See? Okay, so that's slow loading. Okay, next one is poor quality videos hosted on YouTube. Now, don't get me wrong. I love YouTube. I love it to drive traffic to your site. I love it because the in-stream ads, or the ones that you can click skip, are the best bargain on the internet. So I get sometimes a view of 2 cents. And if they click skip before 30 seconds, I don't pay anything. So you can get a lot of branding in for free. So anyway, I want to use YouTube to drive people to the website. But once people are there, I don't want them to be able to easily leave your site and go to some stupid cat video, because YouTube is always going to make it easy to get back to YouTube. Even though they allow you to embed the video in your site, that's not how we do it. We use a service like Amazon S3. It's a high quality file hosting place. And then we put a player on the site that hooks to Amazon S3. And the videos load beautifully, but they can't click and go back to YouTube once they're watching videos on my site, see? And Amazon's not the only place, but what you don't want to do is try to put big videos on your cheap hosting service. Now, I just did a whole thing, I think it was last Monday, on what you should know about hosting, so I would go back and listen to that. But on relatively inexpensive hosting, I mean, if you put one video up there, it might be 1,000 times bigger than the rest of your website put together, literally, okay? So it's just going to bog your site down. Your hosting service, if you get a lot of views, is going to kick you off. It'll stutter. People won't be able to watch it easily. So no, you don't host big videos on your website. And the videos better be good too. You got to have good audio as your number one priority. People sometimes put up with questionable video, but they'll never stand for poor audio. So that's all lumped together. Poor quality videos hosted on YouTube on your site. No, that's not the way to do it. All right. Next thing is no call to action. Now, in business, you got to get people to do something, and you must tell them to do it and tell them what to do. You can't assume that they will read between the lines and do what you want them to do. I mean, it could be clicking on a link or filling out an opt-in form. It could be reading an article or watching a video. Whatever it is, you got to tell them to do it. One thing I like to do is to get people to click on a link is to put a command and a benefit in the text of the link. Pay attention to that, folks. That's made millions of dollars, that one little tip right here. Put a command and a benefit right in the link, the text of the link. So here's an example from my Wake 'em Up speaking system. Click here to get standing ovations around the world. Now the click here is the command, and the standing ovations around the world is the big benefit of people that are interested in being a pro speaker. See, so that formula alone will get you way more clicks to your stuff because there's a benefit in it and you told the people what to do. One of my sayings in the world is you should never overestimate the intelligence of your audience. Okay? I don't mean to be mean with that, but you got to dumb it down to the lowest common denominator so that there's no question at all what to do and what you're going to get for doing it. See, that'll get you the most clicks, the most everything on your website and in your business, really, if it's extremely clear to people what to do, how to do it, and what they'll get out of it. If you boil that down, I mean, that's like a mission statement right there for success. Okay, no call to action. All right, next is overpaying for services. Now, this is what I've preached against since 1997 when Microsoft Front Page came out. That was when the first time a normal human could make a web page. Prior to that, listen to this, folks, you had to depend on geeks writing HTML code, and it actually took, this is not an exaggeration, a year, all right, 365 days, unless it was a leap year, I can't remember, okay, to get the picture of my Wake 'em Up speaking book on my website. A year, okay, so it was not easy back then, but as soon as Microsoft Front Page came out in 1997, people could put stuff on their websites very, very easily with no web designer involved. And this is one of the top two skills, which I attribute to my success online. Of course, the other is copywriting that I mentioned before. And now we use WordPress. It's the gold standard. Do not let any geek talk you into Drupal or some other crap, or Wix, this stupid stuff that they put on TV that they know you don't know what you're doing. And it sounds so easy. Oh, they get some celebrity to say that they used Wix for their website. No, they didn't. They got paid to say that, all right? So WordPress is the gold standard of the world, okay, period. Nobody can dispute that. Hundreds of millions of installations. Everybody on earth develops for WordPress, not all these other weird things, okay? So anyway, you can make world-class websites for less than $100. I mean, I got a whole course on this for like $97 at I think it's at screwthecommute.com/WordPress e-course. I think it is. And you can use Fiverr.com for custom graphics and other services. Don't let them, give you fake likes for Facebook and fake links, all that. That'll hurt you. But graphics, you can get really great graphics. There's some lady that was Woman Business Owner of the Year in Arizona, was paying $2,500 for a book cover. I turned her on to Fiverr, and she got I think she ended up paying maybe $15 and a gorgeous book cover off of Fiverr. All right, so now they're jacking, giving you more options, $5, $10, $15, $20, $50, but still, it's a bargain compared to going to a professional firm. Now, I know some professional designers, and yeah, you're going to get a top-notch job out of them. But what's your budget? You got to think about that. All right, so don't overpay for services. The more you learn, the less you'll pay. And I always tell people, I ask them in front of audiences, I find somebody that's a big expert on something. I don't know, engineering, let's say. I say, okay, if I started talking engineering to you, how long would it take for you to know I don't have an idea what I'm talking about? I'm clueless. And they usually say, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds. All right. Well, you're lucky if you make it 10 to 15 seconds in front of a web designer who instantly knows you don't know what you're talking about. And so they can tell you anything. And you say, oh, I guess I have to get that. I got to have a website. And how much is it going to be? Well, it'll probably be $3,500 to $5,500. We'll have to see, and it'll probably take 4 months to develop. That is, I'd punch him in the nose just for fun. If you could, like that movie, what is it, The Purge, where one day of the year you can do stuff. I'd wait for that day and then go punch him in the nose. So no, you could have a world-class website up in a couple days for $150. And that's not any kind of BS. We do it all the time, see? So don't overpay for services. Let's have a drum roll now. The number one biggest mistake I see on websites and in people's online businesses in general is poor or non-existent keyword usage. So for years, I taught that the number one most important thing you do before developing a website is to do keyword research. If you haven't done that, then nothing else much matters, because for most of us mere mortals who aren't international celebrities, we need to be found. And currently, the way that people, and probably until they start embedding chips in your head, which might not be long with these vaccines they want to put in you, but we work on words. And so to be found, even if you're doing paid advertising, it's still based on words of where you put the ads and how people trigger the ads. You don't want people that are, if you got an archery product, you don't want people that are looking for golf stuff to see your ad and you got to pay for it. See? So no, you want targeted, and it comes from keyword research. Now, currently, we use the Google Keyword Planner tool. It's kind of a pain in the neck to find, but it works great once you get signed up. And once you get all your keywords lined up, you must strategically place them in your website or blog so they're found properly. Now, this could encompass an entire course in itself. I mean, you should listen to episode 1, and then I think it's episode 130, because episode 1 of this, it was the number one mistake, so I made it episode 1 of Screw the Commute podcast. But then a couple years later, voice search has changed the way we do keyword research. I mean, you still want to learn the basics and then Go and listen to the voice search and see how that's changed the way, because people talk into their cell phones and tablets different than they would type when they're looking for something. So you need to know this. So I'm just telling you that you need to learn keyword research and the utilization of these keywords from a credible source. And that's, I mean, just the number one thing is people get this CSI, crappy, stupid idea, get the website, get the blog, get the social media, get Pinterest, get Facebook and Instagram and everything. And then nobody wants what they're, talking about. So, or they can't find it because nobody types it the way they thought. You can't trust what you think. You got to go with real numbers. Eh? And just to give you a few tips on that, the keywords go in blog postings, in links, in the names of graphics, in the alt description of graphics, in captions, in title bars of web pages, in heading tags, in the domain names. And there's loads of places. See, the return on investment of keyword research is enormous. So you got to get serious about that. So we're happy to help you learn all this stuff. This is what I've been teaching people for since 1990, late 96, so 24 years, all right? So if you don't know this stuff, God help you. You're just saying, oh, the internet doesn't work. No, you didn't implement all these things. And this episode is just mistakes you're making on your website, okay? Just think of all my other Monday episodes on things you're messing up on your shopping cart, things you're messing up on your email marketing, things you're messing up on your chat bots, things you're messing up on your blogs. It just goes on and on. The hosting was last week. All these things are what's necessary to make a good internet business. Things you're messing up on affiliate marketing, private label stuff, product production. All of these things we teach you, hold your hand one-on-one in my great internet marketing joint venture and retreat program, where you spend an immersion weekend here. Now, we don't even let anybody come here for 4 months till they get some training under their belt. Now, in the pandemic, you can't come anyway, but we start training you immediately to fix these things up. That's why it's a year-long program. Doesn't mean you have to wait a year to make money. But the thing is there's just enormous amounts to learn. I try to tell people it's like a crossword puzzle, 1,000-piece crossword puzzle. But you don't have the box to show you, like, even what the picture looks like. See? We're the box for that to put it all together for you. So check it out, greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. We have an entry fee and then a percentage of profits. And you say, what? You're going to take part of my business? Yeah, I am. But here's the thing. A lot of people at my level will charge you 50 or 100 grand up front to teach you this stuff. And a lot of them wouldn't teach you once they got the money anyway. That's why I started the scam brigade and the fraud, anti-fraud thing that I do. So when I started this around the year 2000, where I charged an entry fee and then a percentage of profits, people just flocked to it because they knew for me to get my 50,000, they had to make 200,000. And then I said, look, it's not fair for you to be stuck with me forever. So then it's capped. You don't owe me anything else. And then you're a big expert yourself on internet marketing. So people just love this program. Like I said, 1,700 students over 20 some years, and it's still going strong. So I'd love to have you in here. And then we start immediately. As soon as we finish our agreement, boom, you start talking to me. And the thing about me is I'm fanatic. I work weekends, evenings, holidays, and you have access to me and the other employees. Now they work regular, business hours, but we have freelancers that'll talk to you on the weekends and evenings too. And we're all trained by me. So nobody on earth can compare with this program. If you're serious and want to do better, get in my darn program. Because there's never been a lawsuit, never been a refund request or chargeback in 20 years. All right, so I've made lots of money for lots of people, and I'd love to do it for you too. So check it out, greatinternetmarketingtraining.com, and you also get gifted a scholarship to my school. That's $19,000 entry fee if you're across the board, if you're military, first responder, or law enforcement, or immediate family of any of those, that's $9,500 scholarship. One person got in here. His daughter is making $6,000 a month. I haven't talked to her for 2 months. It's probably more than that now. People are throwing money at her to get her to take their social media off their back. So she's opened up a whole agency, and he had spent $80,000 on her crap education, and she was working at some menial job. So this is real stuff that can really change your life, can change your kids' life, your grandchildren. I'd love for a grandparent to talk to me about this, and we'll get a gift of scholarship. It's the best legacy gift you could ever give to your grandchildren or your children, either one, or nephews, nieces, whatever it is. All right, so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. We got some great shows coming up, and I will catch you on the next episode this Wednesday. See you later.